Hi guys, Richard Phillips back at you with some more modern action. Today we're going to be playing something that I've been working on for quite a long time. We're going to be playing some Esper Dragons today. It's a blue-black shell that supports 6 main deck dragons, plus some cards that happen to be type dragons, to enable 7 individual copies of 2 different cards that I want to kind of highlight today. So before I break down the deck, just want to ask you guys, if you're enjoying my content, please subscribe. It'll let me show that you're liking the content. And then second off, it will get me a little bit closer to the goals that YouTube has required in order for me to start monetizing videos. I just hit the viewership hour total, but I'm very far behind on subscribers. So if you could do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, that would be wonderful. Help other people find my stuff, and will get me a little bit closer to trying to at least break even with these videos that I'm producing for you guys. Alright, so I guess to start breaking down this deck, what we're trying to do basically is we're trying to enable these 2 cards. First is Silumgar Scorn, which if we control a dragon or have a dragon in our hand is Counterspell. If it's not Counterspell, it's just a Force Spike. So 2 mana counter something, assuming we have a dragon. Or Foul Tongue Invocation, which has 2 parts to it. First off, it always will make our opponent sacrifice a creature, but if we control a dragon card or can reveal a dragon, we gain 4 life. So the individual sacrifice effect isn't great for 3 mana, but 3 mana to make our opponent sacrifice something and us gain 4 life can be a huge tempo swing in a lot of matchups. It's excellent against Burn and other decks like that. So we get to enable those 2 cards by playing 6 main deck dragons. 4 Dragonlord Ojutai, which is the best dragon. It gets us a little bit of card advantage when it can attack in, and it has hexproof as long as it's untapped. Dragonlord Silumgar, which lets us steal a creature or planeswalker our opponent controls, as long as we control the Silumgar. And Silumgar the Drifting Death, which has a small, like Knight of Souls Betrayal effect attached to it. That also stacks. So if we attack with Silumgar and another dragon, it'll be -2/-2. So we got some cool dragons that we're playing. In order to enable that, we are playing quite a bit of removal. We have 4 Fatal Pushes, 2 Nameless Inversions, which is unfortunate that we have to play this card, but it is a dragon type because it's a changeling card. So we can reveal this to Force Spike, or to turn our Force Spikes into full counter spells and to make us gain 4 life. So +3/-3, we almost always use it as just a -3/-3. There's some weird scenarios where you can put it on your Dragonlord Ojutai to make it bigger, but that's pretty unlikely. So we got the Nameless Inversions, Collective Brutality, which is excellent against Burn and Combo, as well as Control. There's pretty much usage in most matchups. As well as 1 Hero's Downfall to kill opponent's Planeswalkers. That's kind of a hedge towards Jace in the new meta. We've also got 3 Damnation, so we can clear the board. I was playing some Crux of Fate, but Crux of Fate was too slow. I needed to get it down on 4 very often. In addition to our counter spells with Silumgar Scorn, we also have 3 Cryptic Commands, which is great. We're playing 1 Jace in this deck. We already have a lot of 5 and 6 mana plays, so I can't overload on Jace. And Jace isn't actually as important in this deck as some of these dragons are, based on what we're trying to do. We also have a Search for Azcanta, which will let us get ahead a little bit on cards. 2 Snapcaster Mages to get back most of this removal here. One thing to note is that the only white cards we have main are the 4 Dragonlord Ojutais. The interesting thing about this deck, compared to other Esper Dragon decks, is that the white mana is almost cut entirely from the main deck. And the reason for that is because of Silumgar Scorn. There's going to be a lot of cases where this is just a Force Spike. We don't actually have the ability to reveal a dragon to it, and when we were playing the card Path to Exile specifically, you are unable to use this as a counterspell as effectively with Path to Exile. So Path to Exile and Silumgar Scorn are in a lot of cases a big non-bow, and we're trying to mitigate that by playing a blue-black land base. It's also less painful, so that if our opponent's trying to attack us quickly, with like a human strategy or a bird strategy, we should be able to stabilize quicker. We're playing 8 fetch lands. We got the 4 Flooded Strand, 4 Polluted Delta, as well as 4 Creeping Tar Pit, 1 Drowned Catacomb for painless dual mana base, or dual. We have 1 Minimo at School at Water's Edge, which will let us untap our dragons, as well as our Search for Azcanta, which comes up very, very occasionally. 3 Watery Grave to help us cast our spells with the duels. 1 Swamp, 1 Plains. I wanted to minimize the non-blue sources on our deck so we could reliably cast Silumgar Scorn. 3 Islands, 1 Haven of the Spirit Dragon, which is really cool. Lets us tap 1 mana of any color to cast a dragon, or we can pay 2 and sack the Haven and return a dragon from our graveyard to our hand. So this will also get us some card advantage late game. against decks that are trying to grind us. And then 1 Hollowed Fountain. So our only white sources that are actually in the deck are a Hollowed Fountain and a Plains. We can find them off of the 8 fetches. So we actually have 12 white lands, which is quite a bit, actually. All right, moving on to the sideboard here, guys. We have some cool stuff and some spicy stuff. I guess we'll start with the stuff that we just kind of need to include. 2 Nihil Spellbombs for graveyard strategies, a Timely for the burn matchup, 2 Stonies, and Disenchant for artifact decks, a Celestial Purge for the Jund decks and other red decks that are starting to pop up a little bit here. We've got a Negate and a Dispel to back up our dragons a little bit. We've got a Liliana's Defeat, specifically against black decks, can take out Liliana. Liliana is actually one of the best cards against dragons, because it'll be the only creature we have usually, most of the time. We've got 2 Thoughtseizes, plus 1 Duress. I originally had 3 Thoughtseizes, but the life total did matter, or life total did matter against some of the combo matchups. That's really where we're bringing in the Thoughtseizes. Duress would work just as well. The only major matchup that you would want to bring in Thoughtseize, but not Duress. Sorry, I should have phrased that better. The only matchup where Duress is not strictly better than Thoughtseize that we'd really be bringing this in is against Valakut Titan. And we need to be able to take their Primeval Titans with Thoughtseize. There'll be some others that'll show up. I just can't think of them right now. So that's the reason why we have a split between Thoughtseize and Duress. Dragonlord's Prerogative is a 6-mana draw 4 that can't be countered if we have a dragon. And that's backbreaking against control and mid-range decks. So I'm going to bring that in there. It's one of my favorite cards from Standard, so I'm excited to play it here. And then we have another Silumgar if we're facing matchups that have a lot of like mid-rangey creatures or planeswalkers that we can take with Silumgar. Like, the best example I can think of is, like, the Skred Red matchup. Dragonlord Silumgar is amazing against Skred Red. Alright, and with that, guys, we're going to jump into round 1, and I'll see you guys there. Alright, guys, welcome to round 1. We have won the die roll here, so we will be on the play. Alright, and this hand is pretty excellent. We can counterspell on turn 2, and then have removal as well as ways to draw some more cards. So we'll keep this hand. We have a big question turn 1 whether or not we want to lead off with a untapped land or a tapped land. I think we should just lead off with the Creeping Tar Pit because I don't know what our opponent's playing, and there's a chance that we would Serum Visions or Fatal Push into the wrong thing. And it looks like it's a mirror, so this is kind of interesting here. Alright, we drew a Damnation. Alright, so I think our play here is we are going to hold up Silumgar's Scorn here because one of the ways that we could easily lose this matchup is if we let our opponent resolve a Search for Azcanta. So I want to almost always hold up Counter Magic for Search for Azcanta. Alright, it looks like our opponent is playing Search for Azcanta, which is excellent. We will go ahead and get another black source. I don't want to shock too much in this matchup, so I think that'll probably be the last time that we shock. And I'm not going to show our opponent any other things. We're just going to use this as a force spike. Alright, excellent. Alright, we drew a Snapcaster Mage, which is a pretty good draw, actually. And we'll go ahead and get a Serum Vision going. Alright, and a Search for Azcanta is exactly what we need, so we'll put that on top. The other land we can put on the bottom for now. And we're just going to play a tap land here. Alright, and our opponent has missed their land drop, which is very good for us. Basically, we need to figure out whether or not we think our opponent's playing Mana Leak, and a lot of the decks don't tend to play Mana Leak, so I think I'm fine just running out the Search for Azcanta here. They can't, they don't have enough to Logic Knot it, which is exactly what happened there. So we were able to resolve that, and now we're in a pretty commanding position here. Our opponent might bolt us here at the end of the turn. Okay, yep, Helix. What is good about this deck is that we have 4 main deck life gain spells, which we can fire off just to gain life. Alright, our opponent did find another land. I'm going to hold the Polluted Delta because I want to enable this Fatal Push as long as possible. If our opponent is playing Geists. Or, sorry, not Geists. Spell Quellers. Alright, we would love to put Damnation in our graveyard, and we drew Dragonlord Ojutai, which is not a great draw. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get a Serum Visions going here. So we'll go 1, 2, and we'll play the Snapcaster Mage and try to get Serum Visions going. Alright, cool. So there's Serum Visions. Alright, we drew a land, which is very good. We'll put the Nameless Unversion on the bottom and another Creeping Tar Pit on the top. We'll play the Creeping Tar Pit and pass the turn. See if our opponent wants to, like, electrolyze it or something. Nope, they're just bolting us. Okay. And pathing our Snapcaster Mage. Okay. I think we're fine with that. We'll go ahead and fetch here. Because this is a good opportunity for us to just go ahead and use our... there's a chance that we're going to want to shuffle later, so... We just want to get it down now. I could have held it up. I guess it didn't really matter. Alright. So our opponent has Cryptic Mana up. So we're going to need to be a little bit careful about playing around that. We're not going to put Flooded Strand into the graveyard. We do want to draw that. So we'll go ahead and draw it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't want to just cast Dragonlord Ojutai into our opponent's mana there, so I'm going to fire up a Creeping Tar Pit and see if our opponent wants to do something about that. All right. See if our opponent snaps in something at the end of the turn here. Yep, Snapcaster Mage. Lightning Helix, okay. When they cast the Lightning Helix, I will Nameless Inversion their Snapcaster Mage. Alright, we'll go ahead and Nameless Inversion the Snapcaster Mage. Wow, alright. Dropping to 4 here. That means we can't really crack this Flooded Strand. Yeah, let's put Swamp in our graveyard. We want to draw some action here. Alright, Dragonlord Ojutai. We kind of are pressed into just getting this down now. So we'll go ahead and try. I guess I should have left up Fatal Push here. Tap my mana a little bit wrong. Okay. Ojutai has resolved, which is good. See if our opponent can kill us here. They're going to need 2 burn spells. Okay. Yep, they got us down to 1. Alright, we're down to 1. Man, and they found it. Wow. Alright. Moving on to game 2 here. Alright, we'll bring in Dispel and Negate and Duress. That actually seems pretty good in this matchup. The Prerogative seems really good. Cards that seem a little bit worse. Silumgar, because our opponent doesn't really have anything we can take. The Ojutai, honestly, itself is not great either. I can see Nihil Spellbombs actually being pretty good. We could bring them in. These Nameless Inversions are really bad. We'll take them out. Collective Brutality can gain us a little bit of life and make our opponent discard some cards. So we just have 3 more cuts. The Downfall's not great. The Invocations aren't very good. And Damnation's really bad. So, well, if our opponent has Geist, which they might, we should probably leave in 2 Damnations. So we'll leave in 2 Damnations, and we'll submit like that. Alright, so we have a reasonable amount of removal for pretty much everything our opponent's trying to do, other than, if they're going to burn us out. Alright, this hand's definitely keepable. I think what we want to do, actually, is we want to shock in this Duress and Duress our opponent, because we want to take any counter spells that they have earlier. Okay, so I think we're going to get rid of the Cryptic Command, because that's the card that in the later game will have the biggest impact, especially because we don't have any counter spells of our own here. Other than, I guess, our Cryptic Command. I don't know, there's a chance we should have taken Bolt there. Alright, so our opponent has played their Scalding Tarn. Alright, cool. We will get down our Search for Azcanta here and try to look for some lands. Alright, opponent's playing their Hallowed Fountain. That's fine. We'll put any non-land in the graveyard. Oh boy, Serum Visions. I think we actually do want to cast Serum Visions. I guess I shouldn't have said that. Alright. We are going to bottom the Collective Brutality and top the island. Alright, so we're missing our land drop here, which isn't great. Our opponent's going to bolt us probably end of turn here. Okay. But our opponent's hand isn't great. They're not doing all that much with it. We unfortunately drew our one of Plains, which isn't really where we want to be. I would not like to put Island in my graveyard. I'd like to draw that, please. Alright, and we'll go ahead and play the Island, and we'll pass the turn. Alright, our opponent's opting. And I think we'll let the Helix go. That's fine. We want to save this Dispel for... Alright, so we know that they've used this Helix. So we know they still have Snapcaster Mage. Okay. Yep, that's fine. We would not like to put Watery Grave in the graveyard. We would like to draw that very much. And I think here we're going to want to try to set up our draws for the next couple of turns. So we'll go ahead and get that Snapcaster Mage down. And we'll Serum Visions. So we're very far away from flipping the Search for Azcanta, but we're gaining value off of it each turn. Alright, good. And we drew a Foul Tongue Invocation, which is very good. We'll bottom both of these because we still want more lands. The Foul Tongue Invocation will let us gain some life and hopefully make our opponent sacrifice a Snapcaster Mage. Alright, our opponent's going to bolt us down to 9. We do need a dragon card in order to gain the life with the Foul Tongue Invocation. Alright, so we still know our opponent has Mountain in hand. Our opponent is not attacking, which is interesting. Okay. Nope, we would like to draw that. So we'll go ahead and get that down. And now we can Cryptic Command with Dispel backup. We're definitely not attacking. I'm surprised our opponent didn't attack us before, actually. Alright, so we still know our opponent has a Mountain in hand. Alright, Alright, I think at the end of the turn, we'll just go ahead and use one of our fatal pushes, because we have a couple here on the Snapcaster Mage. If our opponent wants to fight this, that's fine. Opponent's going to Spell Queller. Okay, that's fine. We will let that resolve. Then we will fetch with this and Fatal Push our opponent again. But this time we'll push the Spell Queller. And kill our opponent's Snapcaster Mage too. Alright. Do we want another land? No, let's put that in the graveyard. Okay, Silumgar Scorn's a pretty good draw. We will get in at our opponent with this Snapcaster Mage. Alright, so we still know our opponent has a mountain in hand. I'm surprised our opponent isn't playing that, because they know that we have the mountain. Alright, our opponent's going to get a little frisky with this Celestial Colonnade. We're going to Foul Tongue Invocation it. We will do it now. You usually want to do this before combat, because that way if our opponent taps it to try to counter it or something like that, we will be able to, they won't be able to attack with it. And that means we can flip the Search for Azcanta here, which is very nice. Good, okay. So, unless it's a threat, we'll probably flip the Search for Azcanta. Yeah, Damnation will definitely put in the bin and flip the Search. Okay, cool. And we drew a Haven, so we'll play that. And we'll get in at our opponent for 2. Alright. So this is good so far. We would like one more land. We will activate this. Our opponent can take this opportunity to cast a spell that we can't counter. Alright, we'll take the Fatal Push. That's fine. Put these in any order. Alright, drawing Catacombs is like the perfect draw. That means that we can still hold up Cryptic Command while using our Search for Azcanta. And we'll continue to beat down with the Snapcaster Mage. Ugh. Be nice to draw a dragon. Opponent's going to bolt us. I think that one's fine. Yeah, going to 5 is okay. Alright, and we will take the Dragon Lord's Prerogative. That is a draw 4. Alright, and we drew a Tar Pit, which is good too. So we'll play the Tar Pit and get in with the Snapcaster Mage. We can use that Tar Pit in a couple of turns to hopefully close out the game. Alright, we'll let our opponent opt. That's fine. We're probably only going to counter something that's lethal. I think we can go ahead and tap out for this Dragon Lord's Prerogative to make our opponent use a counter spell on it. We will not counter this. Okay. Alright, and we drew a Jace, which is a good draw. So we'll get in here with our Snapcaster Mage. Our opponent only has one card in hand. We can start Fate Sealing our opponent to make sure that they can't hit that card. They do have a Scalding Tarn up, which was a good play by our opponent. So we'll go ahead and tap 1, 2, 3, and sure, that one 4. Play the Jace. Awesome, and we'll Brainstorm. Alright, good, and we drew a Dragon, which is excellent. We do want all of these cards, I think. Fatal Push is probably the one that we're going to be the least likely to want. And the Nihil Spellbomb. Alright, so we have a few counter spells here. We can't cast all of them, but we can cast 2 of them. Alright, and I think we're safe to shuffle the top of our library using the Search for Azcanta. We will take the Nihil Spellbomb. Alright, and we drew a Polluted Delta. We'll play that. And we'll play the Nihil Spellbomb. If our opponent has a Snapcaster Mage, they have to kind of use it now. Alright, and then we will Fate Seal our opponent to make sure that they're not drawing any more burn. Yeah, I think we want to put Search on the bottom of their library. That's one of the ways that they could get back into this game. We would be priced into countering that card. Alright, so now one of the things that we have to think about is whether or not we want to play this Ojutai. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana up. So if we cast this Ojutai, we still have Dispel plus Silumgar Scorn. Okay, that seems pretty good. So we will... yeah, we'll go ahead and cast that. That means we have, yes, Dispel plus Silumgar Scorn up still. Alright, it looks like our opponent's going to try to... okay, our opponent is going to try to counter that. We will Dispel the Logic Knot. Alright. And that means our opponent's probably dead next turn. Alright, excellent. So moving to game 3 here. Is there anything we want to change based on what we saw from our opponent? So we did see that our opponent's playing Geists, which means I guess that Nameless Inversion's honestly not the worst. I could see a Nameless Inversion over a Fatal Push, because that also enables our dragons. Collective Brutality is just like a Duress in this matchup. Is that good enough? Maybe not. Maybe we should cut one of them and play a dragon, another dragon. Because the game is going to go on the later side, I think. Alright, this hand's pretty good. It's got 2 counters that are hard, which is good in this matchup. If our opponent has a turn 1 or turn 2 Search for Azcanta, we might be in a lot of trouble. And of course they have it. Darn. Alright. Alright, well that's a good answer to Geist, if our opponent's playing Geist. Which I'm assuming they are because they're playing Spell Queller. Maybe they'll run out one this turn and we can counter. Alright, and we are not going to crack this Flooded Strand. We're just going to take a draw step because we would like to draw as many lands as possible. And we can fetch basics with some of them. I'll probably crack one at the end of the turn. Do we want to counter a Helix? Probably not. We'll just take the Helix hit. That's fine. Next turn we can try to counter one if our opponent wants to do that same thing. The only way we have to answer this Search for Azcanta is a cryptic command, which is unfortunate. Alright. We should probably go ahead and get our white mana here because not every land can produce white mana. So we'll get the Hallowed Fountain here. Alright, and we would like to still draw another land. Alright, our opponent is cracking a fetch. Opponent's shocking it in. Huh. Snapcaster Mage. Okay, so we will go ahead and Silumgar Scorn this, revealing a Jurgen. Revealing a Dragon Lord Ojutai. Our opponent doesn't know that we have the ability to do that again. See if our opponent wants to counter this. No. Okay. Alright, excellent. So that's Crisis 1 averted. Opponent is up to 4 cards in their graveyard. They got rid of a Serum Visions, which is kind of interesting. It looks like they're going to miss their land drop. So they're really focused on getting the search flipped. Or they have a Cryptic Command. No, I mean, they can't cast Cryptic Command, actually, based on the mana that they have up. Alright, and we did draw a land, which is very good. I think, based on where we are in terms of the game state, as well as the fact that we have 2 Ojutais in hand, I think we should just go ahead and try to jam an Ojutai here. Our opponent doesn't currently have Cryptic Command, so they would need Summary Dismissal or Logic Knot. And if they're going to cast Logic Knot, we're fine with that. The Summary Dismissal would be a little bit unfortunate. But hopefully next turn we can draw another land, and then we can force through the second Ojutai. Awesome, and it resolves. That's great. Okay, Snapcaster Mage on Helix, and they'll Helix us. That's fine. But we can block the Snapcaster Mage, which is great. That also means that they're 1 more card away from flipping the Search for Azcanta. So we're good with that. Just go ahead and F6 through our opponent's turn because we're tapped out. They put another Serum Visions. Wow, so they're missing land drops. And they're fine with Serum Visions going into the graveyard. That's very interesting. Alright, so we will go ahead and attack with the Dragon Lord and also defend it because we really want to hit a land drop here. So we will defend it with our Silumgar Scorn and our Dispels. So we will go ahead and use our Dispel first because that is the most, or the least effective of all of them. Okay, Spell Queller. Alright, so this I think is going to work out pretty well. So our opponent will then Spell Quell the Dispel. Okay, so that's fine. Then we're going to go ahead and Nameless Inversion the Spell Queller, which will kill it. And then we can Dispel the Path. Excellent. Alright, so that worked. Then we hit our opponent. We will go ahead and take a Minimo, School at Water's Edge. Put these back in any order. Play the Minimo, and just go ahead right now and untap the Dragon Lord. Awesome, and then we will play the Serum Visions. The reason why I wanted to do it now as opposed to hold up a counter spell is because I think there is a high enough, a reasonable chance at least, that our opponent would be able to interact with like another Path to Exile or something like that on their turn, and that would have really messed with the Dragon Lord. So see if our opponent wants to flip their search here. They'd have to put this card in the graveyard. Wow, okay. So they are flipping the search. And they drew a land for the turn. So the 2 cards in hand are spells. See if our opponent wants to Cryptic Command to just get in for some damage here. Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay. Not sure what this is. Alright. Alright, so we purposely drew the Fatal Push here because we want to be able to Fatal Push our opponent's Snapcaster Mage so we can continue to trade damage here. We'll get in with the Dragon Lord. We're kind of trying to race our opponent here a little bit. See what our opponent finds off of the Azcanta, because we actually don't really have a way to interact with the Azcanta. Alright, so we know our opponent has Cryptic Command. See what card we pick from this. I guess getting the Creeping Tar Pit might have been pretty good here. Alright, we'll take the Fatal Push. Put those back in any order. We'll go ahead and Fatal Push our opponent's Snapcaster Mage here. And we will untap the Dragon Lord again. Alright, so our opponent doesn't know any of the cards in our hand because we've cast Fatal Push on top of the other Fatal Push. Both of us are more or less drawing a card each turn. I get to choose from the top 3 and take anything. He gets to take a non-creature from the top 4. I'm not sure at this point which one of those is better. I guess probably mine because it doesn't take any mana to do it. See if our opponent casts a Wrath or something here. I really don't know what they're doing. Cryptic Command, choosing 2. Tap my creatures, draw a card. Okay, that's fine. See, are they like piecing together their own Path to Exile or something? No. Okay. Well, that's fine. So our opponent paid 4 mana to cycle their spell, which is interesting. Wonder what's happening here. Doesn't appear to be very much. Also, I'm not sure why our opponent did that in the slightest, because now they are unable to, or now the next hit from the Dragon Lord kills them, where before that would not have been the case. Yeah, I'm very confused by our opponent's play. Alright, they're going to 4. We have 1 counter spell. We only really need to counter something that's going to kill us. Alright, we will play the island to begin because we want to do this. It looks like our opponent's going to try to rev up the colonnade to block, I think is their plan. Oh, they have a Cryptic Command. We did know about that, didn't we? Okay. So it's tap all creatures, draw a card. So we want to continue to maintain our stop. So that's fine. Now we're going to just untap it. So we were able to fight through the first cryptic command. And we win the match. Excellent.